Hello everyone, today is the 27th of October 2025 and it's almost the end of the year again. And back in 8 October I made this post on my Facebook page, Old School GRECH, and asked you what is one classic small bike that you would own. And many commented. We have about 55 comments and around 330 likes on that post. So yeah, let's see them. Let's see your comments and what you said. Steven, I had a Suzuki GP 125. I got knocked off it racing a Fiat Panda. Lol, a night in hospital for me. Well, fun fact is I had not a Fiat Panda, a Fiat Marbella, which is quite a similar model, a Spanish version of the Fiat Panda, if I must say. But I loved that car. I really did a lot of adventures with that car actually. Parking in fields, going off-road with it. But anyway, well, the GP125 is the photo of the bike that I posted is actually of a GP125. So, okay, you had some good memories on that GP125. Andy, he had two 125cc bikes until he passed his test, basically an RD125 and the Kawasaki AR125. Okay, so you liked fast little bikes, fast for 125s of course. The RD, I love the RD, yeah. Kirk Rafter, oh, he's mentioning the Kawasaki F7 175 trial bike. That's a lovely bike. And of course, he is stating that it punched above its weight and could give many 250 trail bikes a damn good run for its money. Okay. I have never owned a Kawasaki F7 or something similar from Kawasaki, so yeah, maybe you can tell me more about this bike and even comment on this video and discuss it more. But I love that model. I'm not sure if they came here. Well, a friend of mine had a Kawasaki, but I think it was a 125 actually. I'm not sure. I will ask him. I think I have a photo of it. Okay, but let's keep the small bikes category. It depends on your interpretation, but let's keep it 125cc and below. One shouldn't consider a 175 or a 150 a big or medium-sized bike, of course, but in that small range it can make a lot of difference between 125cc and a 175cc. Let's take for example the Yamaha DTs. There was a difference in power between 125 and 175 of course, so the more small the bike is, maybe the more difference in power you can see in an obvious manner, if that makes sense. Yep. Chris Brown, okay, he could squeeze some power of those unrestricted 125s, and they were good, he's saying, from the as a progression bikes from the classic 50s. Of course, there were some, and there still is, there are countries where they begin with 50 cc's, mostly popular in Italy. I think we have recently adopted the same law or something in Malta as well. So that 16-year-olds, I think, can ride the mopeds up till 50 cc or so, and then they can upgrade till 125cc. So yeah, it was an upgrade, probably a good jump from going from a 50cc. I'm comparing with the 50cc's that I've ridden. For example, the Piaggio Ciao. I made a video about that. It goes up till around 50 kilometers per hour, while my Suzuki ER goes up till 110 kilometers per hour. So yeah, even double the top speed. Derek, He had a 1976 RD125. I love those RD. I've seen one. I'm not sure if it was a website or something. I think I've seen one on Facebook. I think somebody posted a Yamaha RD125 with the racing stripes of Yamaha, so with those boxy racing design. I love that. Adam, he had a GP 100 and 125, and he basically said they were great little bikes. Dawn, I had now a 7980 lovely GP 125, and which part exchanged with the FS1E, and basically said that they were both brilliant. I think the FS1E were popular in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. Many people from the UK actually has a lot of memories with FS1Es. So maybe somebody from the UK can clarify this point. Maybe why were they popular? Were there some agreement with the company or something, or good publicity maybe? But yeah, there was this thing by teenagers, late teenagers, that owning FS1Es in the UK. Dave Howard, the Yamaha YB100. That's only because I had an original FS1A. Again. And he loved basically the Yamaha Y100 because it was just the bigger brother. Dave, are you from the UK? You see? Yeah. And his profile picture has the UK flag, so most probably from the UK as well. Neil, I own this one, bought it new, owned it twice. And he is basically showing us, oh, an X5 200. My uncle had an X4, so it was a 125cc, he had a blue X4. I loved that bike with the boxy design and square headlight. There was one for sale in an auction here in Malta, and I went to bid on it, but it went like bonkers. The starting bid was not so high, but I think it went up to over 2,500 or something. And I was not ready to pay that money for it. I could have asked my uncle to sell his to me, but anyway, he sold it to someone else, and probably for a lot less. Unfortunately, I would have loved to own that, but I was still a student at that time. Phil Butt, the GP 100 was my first bike. I should retire in a couple of years and would love a cafe race version of one, probably with a 125 top end as a retirement project. Oh, I congratulate you, Phil, and would love to maybe see a comment from you and see some videos or photos at least of your upcoming project in the future. Cheers. Ned Bowden, 1967 Yamaha YAS1 125 twin. He posted also a picture. I'm not sure if he owns the bike, but it looks absolutely stunning. I'm not sure we had that model, but my dad owns a quite similar model. It is a YG1, but it's not a 125cc twin like this one. It is a 75cc, the YG1, and it is actually quite similar in design. Even has the speedo on the part of the headlight as well, like this one. I love this one. It's quite a lovely 60s designed Yamaha. So David recommended his KMX 125, and fun to ride with 80 plus miles per hour on the road. 80 plus miles per hour for a 125, that's real good, eh? 80 miles per hour is around, I work more with kilometers here in Malta, so around, I think, a little bit less than 130 kilometers per hour, or 130, something like that. So that's very good for a KMX 125. But apart from speed, it's not all about speed only, from my perspective. It's about the feel, and the classic feel as well. Andrew, my first bike in South, bought it for R750, about 300, brand new in 1983. I'm not sure I'm understanding this comment actually. My first bike in South. Maybe some autocorrect or something. Mike, this is mine now. A GP, another GP 125. That's lovely, eh, Mike? Lovely bike as well. I'm seeing the race exhaust. What is that, a Micron? Or no, a dual speed actually. Lovely bike, lovely bike. Even the color. I love those cosmic rims, eh? They were issued, I think, on the X4 as well. I'm not sure if they are exactly the same, but most probably they are identical because they used interchanging parts. Craig, Suzuki GT 125, great little air-cooled twin. I agree with you, Craig. I would love to own a GT 125. My friend Benny probably will see this video as well. He owns a GT. He owns a GT 185. I'm not sure if the other one that he has is a 125, but I love those GTs. They are twin. I love the shape of the engine with the air rimming system on top. Yeah, and they look not only like a small bike, they are like a minimized version of the bigger bikes, like the 550s or something. Because the GT 550, in my view, is absolutely another stunning bike. But anyway, that's not a small bike to talk about today. Stephen passed his test on one of these, the GP, I'm assuming, when he was 17, 40 years ago. Okay, you have some history on it then, Steve. If you don't have one, it's time to get one. Gary Cooper bought one I'm assuming in 1983, 499, so basically for 534 British pounds in insurance. Okay, that's quite cheap, but at that time I think it was, I mean, not expensive, but it was the norm, I guess. Chris Hughes, GP 100. Oliver, maybe it's not called a small bike, but I would like to get back my Yamaha RT360. Yeah, for my perspective, that's not a small bike at all, an RT360, but still maybe heading towards the mid-sized category. Yeah, that's a lovely bike, yeah. Possibly I would love to get one as well someday in the future, but I have a list of 1,000 bikes, so most probably it wouldn't happen. But yeah, I love that bike as well, Oliver. I agree with you. Ian Fraser, here's my old SL 125 from back in the day. Oh, that SL is lovely. That SL is lovely, Ian. I have the XL here, 125 from the 1977. It's my father's bike. I made a video about that as well on my YouTube channel. You can go and find it. But the SL has a different styling, and I love it, with that upward exhaust. And yeah, basically it's a fun bike to go for country trails. Mark never owned one, but had to go on one and remember thinking what a nice bike it was. I think he's talking about the GP125. A disclaimer here, I've never owned the GP125 that I've posted there. It's just a picture which I've posted, but I've got no experience with the GP125. I'm not sure if they have ever been imported to here in Malta because I've never seen one. But yeah, I love its styling and I just posted it to begin discussion on the post. Geraint Donald. I would love Suzuki 125 Stinger. I'm not sure what is the model. 125 Stinger. What is it? I'm going to do a fast Google search on it. The Stinger. Suzuki 125 Stinger. Oh, I know these. Yeah, these are from the 60s, late 60s and 70s. Yeah, I think there was also a 250 version of this bike. Yeah, and there was even smaller. I think there were also smaller. There were 125s. I'm not sure exactly, but there were 250 for sure, which is quite similar. I think. I'm not sure. I'm not really knowledgeable on this model actually, the T125, but it's lovely. Mark Hodgson, AR80, best looking bike by a mile. I know one which actually used to come to Halfar, which is next to the Halfar Raceway here in Malta. There is a, what do you call it in English? A gabbana. So basic, not Dolce Gabbana. A gabbana is like a stall where they sell you drinks and snacks basically, and we meet there in Saturday afternoons, normally in winter, just outside the raceway. And there was one guy, a friend of mine, who used to come there with one. I wonder what happened to it though, because last winter I didn't see him with it. Rodney Powell, 1976 Suzuki A100 Gopher. Okay, I really love those as well. They have quite the same styling, similar styling like the A80. Now, which I'm coming to think about it, I was talking about, Mark, not the AR80. I was mistaken. I was talking about the A80. So this friend of mine had an A80, which is basically like the A100, but with a 90cc engine. Stephen Weeks, Fizzer Gold. Of course, the Fizzer is the FS1E, right? John, I had one of these and it was great. Tom, Kawasaki KE100. Oh, absolutely. And the Ducati 185, maybe a Kawasaki KX175 or a Yamaha YZ. I love the small Ducatis. A friend of mine has Ducatis, but they are 250s. But there are even the smaller bikes. They are quite racy and quite lovely and stunning looking. I compare them with other Italian brands, like for example the Minarelli. I own a Minarelli. I posted a video years back about it. It's on my YouTube channel as well. You can find it. I have a P4, and yeah, I love those type of bikes. A little 50cc or 125cc bikes, which have racy and classy looking styling. Well, they are classics actually. Ian Robertson, his comment is Restless Natives. Sean, I had a 1974 RD125, which was a great little bike. I would love to have it back, of course. Who wouldn't? An RD125. Randall, Honda SL125 again. These are great bikes you are mentioning, and I agree with you totally. Mark, Kawasaki GT7. Well, I'm not sure if you are mentioning G7, Mark. The G7, I have one, my dad actually, but yeah, you know how it goes. And I've made a video, so you can check it out, and I posted it on my YouTube channel as well. We have a G7, which needs, of course, full restoration. I love that bike. The Invader T 200 by Nicky Nick. The Invader T200 is also known as the old X5, right Nick? With that more of a chunky and round tank. I love that styling actually. Geoff Robert Williams, AR-50 or 80. Okay, the AR-80, there was one for sale here in Malta. It was being sold, I think, by a friend of mine named Jonathan, right? Jonathan, I think you sold that bike, but I have never seen it again on the road, unfortunately. Well, actually, I had never seen it before on the road and never seen one in person, but I would love to. Donald, Yamaha RS125, again, the DX version, but yeah, of course. Spencer, my CL200 is the most fun bike I've ever owned, and it's one of the best looking bikes as well, in my opinion. But that's a 200, let's stick with the 125, but I didn't post those guidelines, so I don't blame you, and I agree with you. You have one lovely bike, and for sure it's packed with fun. Lee Arnold, Yamaha DT175 MX, those were very powerful. My uncle, once again, had a 250 MX, and it really wanted to eat the road, basically. It was very powerful, two-stroke, and yeah, I love that. And hopefully, we are currently negotiating on a DT. I'm not sure if it's a 125 or 175. So hopefully we get hold of a DT soon. Michael, a Suzuki X6 Hustler. Okay, as far as I know, they were quite fast bikes for the time. Or R350 Yamaha. I think maybe you wanted to say RD350. I'm not sure. But yeah, the RD350 are quite fast, and I know a friend of mine who owns one, Jeremy, and maybe you're seeing this video, Jeremy. He owns also an RD250 with the square looking tank, but then he owns another RD350 from the 70s with the round tank, a bubble tank, if you know. In Maltese we refer to the boxy tank as the tatank tabut, so with the tank which is like a coffin tank, and then the round tank, which were the earlier versions, the older versions with the round tanks basically. He owns one, and it's quite fast. I think in acceleration it can go quite well, run quite well with the Honda CB750s from the 70s. Of course, it doesn't have the same torque, and the 750 would slowly run ahead, of course. But in twists and turns, that is much lighter and can compete quite well with bigger bikes, right? Geoff Robert, an MB50 with an H100 motor in it. You're mad, Robert. The same person also mentions an Sportivo Cinquecento, basically F50, right? I agree with you. I love the Italian 50cc's small bikes, racer bikes that they used to race. Lisa, we have a Honda MB5. Lovely, Lisa. It would be great if you also post a picture or something, and we can view your MB5 and maybe share with others a comment on this video. Alexander Michael, TS90 Trail. Of course, those are great fun. Here in Malta we have a lot of narrow roads. The villages have a lot of narrow roads, but also in the countryside, and these small bikes are unbelievably fun to ride from our perspective, and at least from my own experience and likeliness to enjoy these little bikes in the countryside. Geoff Robert Williams, once again, Testy Champion Super. That's one of the bikes that I was mentioning. There was the Malanka, there were the Minarelli, which were also producing engines for a number of bikes. There were also versions with 6 gear, for example, the P6. Mine is a P4 with 4 gears, but it's actually like a big bike, so having a clutch and everything. Paul Marshall, a Yamaha RS125. Excellent choice, Paul. Tom McGinty, the Honda CB50 pre-late 70s facelift is a beautiful little bike. Very Triumph inspired, and maybe a bike they should have made themselves. I agree with you, Tom. Recently, I got my hands on a CB50, but not from the pre-late 70s facelift that you are mentioning. Mine has that small cowl after the seat, if you know what I mean, that plastic cowl. So it's a later model, but it needs full restoration, and I don't think it's worth restoring, maybe, I may say. But I appreciate all bikes. I came to appreciate all bikes and admire the simplicity even and their beauty, even if they are basically destroyed, unfortunately. It's been sitting in my garage now for a month or two. I think it's 2 months, maybe even more. Yeah, but I think since this summer, right. And it's even without wheels. I've got the wheels actually, and I have to install them, but it doesn't work at all, and it is full of rut. It needs everything, and unfortunately for these small bikes it would cost a lot of money, and it maybe wouldn't be worth it, apart from maybe being a project bike for someone who wants to learn, or maybe wants just a hobby. Hobbies are never profit making, if it's a correct hobby, and hobbies are expensive as well. But the main aim of a hobby is not to make money, but to be proud of yourself doing something and you enjoy it, and make your life more interesting and beautiful for yourself. Ricardo, he posted a photo of his Honda CB125S. That's a quite good looking bike. My dad actually restored one, a red one, for a friend of ours quite recently, and I've posted a video about that Honda. You can check it out also on my channel. Pascal, a Honda 125 SL, once again a beautiful example. And Irfan, he posted this beautiful black Suzuki, a lovely bike as well. Well, if you're wondering ultimately what's my perspective of the best, being the best 125cc for me, well, I am really enjoying lately riding this XL from 1977, XL 125, my dad's, but I would love to choose a two-stroke bike actually. When it comes to reliability, I think the 4-strokes is more reliable, but for fun, I really find my 1981 Suzuki TS 125 ER great. It's just awesome. It accelerates quite good, and it's a package of fun basically, and I love going to trails with it. When it comes to the road, I would love to someday own a GT 125 at Win, and for you who haven't ever heard the GT 125, it's since it's at Win 2-stroke, it has this lovely sound, and yeah, it's apart from being quite powerful for a 125, it has this screaming sound, but it has one fault, at least at least what my dad tells me, because he owned two of them back in the day, and he tells me that they are quite costly when it comes to fuel, because their fuel consumption is horrible. But yeah, at this stage, from my bikes that I have, I would prefer as a small bike my Suzuki TS125VR. It's very comfortable, both the positioning and its lightness for handling, and its nimble speed is enough for me for enjoying it around the small country of Malta that I am basically from. And yeah, it looks good, although it's not very restored well in terms of paint, because I bought that bike and it was already painted, and the paint it was not so good. But with the stickers that I made and the fixes that my dad and myself made on the bike, it looks quite good, and I am very happy with both its performance and its appearance nowadays. Thank you for watching this solo discussion video, but based on your comments of my post on the Facebook page. You can also follow me on Instagram and as well on LinkedIn. Soon the website will be launching, and there will be some merch which you can buy, obviously related to classic and vintage motorcycles, and quite a nice thing to own, I guess. So thank you. You can write comments down below in this YouTube video, or else follow me on the other socials. Thank you, and ride safe.